Hey guys, it's Slots, and today I'm going to be talking about cancel culture and how I feel like it's affected me, even as someone who doesn't have a huge following on social media. Now, I think we all know what cancel culture is, and I think it's very divisive. I feel like a lot of people think it's good, and a lot of people think it's dumb. Me personally, I definitely lean more towards the side of it being stupid, and that's mainly just because I feel like it's lost its purpose. I feel like originally it was just to call out people who were doing shitty things and just to, have them, apologize for it and to, take accountability. But I feel like it's turned into just like mob mentality of, someone's getting canceled. Everyone on the internet is sending them hate, death threats, doxing all their stuff, getting them fired from their jobs. And then when they come out with an apology and actually take accountability, people are like, oh, you're just doing this because you got called out. This is a fake apology. And they don't actually give them a chance to, show that they've grown and learned from their mistakes. And sometimes people get canceled over stuff that is so stupid. Like I remember a couple years ago, the TikToker Charlie D'Amelio was getting canceled because she wanted to hit 100 million followers like a year after she hit a million. And people were like, oh, she's so ungrateful for her followers. And it's like she just had a goal for hitting a certain amount of followers. Like that is so stupid to me. But she was getting all this hate. She was getting sent death threats. It was so stupid. And the thing is, it's like no matter what you're getting canceled for, even if it's something that's not that serious, the reaction is the same either way. People are always just going to hate you for it. They're going to be sending you death threats. They're going to be doxing you, all that stuff. It's just absolutely insane. So that's why I feel like cancel culture has just lost its meaning. I feel like, the whole point of it now is just to find someone to hate. But how I feel like this has affected me is I feel like I've seen so many people getting canceled that it kind of makes me scared that it's going to happen to me. And again, I'm not someone who has a lot of eyes on me. I'm not a big influencer. I'm not a celebrity. But I just have this feeling that people are out to get me and that they save everything that I talk about or do and they're going to like wait to bring it out one day when I'm at my like highest point in life. And there's definitely stuff that I've done that could get me canceled. Like, I feel like so many people have that as well. As humans, we make mistakes, we do stuff that we regret. But it's honestly not even that stuff that gets me too worried. I mean, obviously, I don't want that to come out, but it's not something that I'm as worried about. I'm more worried about and concerned about something happening like today, and I'm not really aware of that it's being bad. And that's going to be like, oh, well, you did this. Okay, I'm going to blast it to everyone, and everyone's going to hate you. I've talked about this a couple times before on this channel, but I have OCD and I'm also someone that really cares about what people think of me. And it's mostly in the sense of I'm worried that I'm going to hurt someone's feelings or offend someone. And I think a lot of that has to do, honestly, with just cancel culture because I feel like most people get canceled for stuff that, is seen as offensive. They hurt someone's feelings. And I think just seeing that over the past couple years constantly has really just affected my brain. And I don't want to be put in that position. And I feel like it kind of holds me back. And I'm not saying I want to say offensive things or I want to hurt someone's feelings, but I feel like I start overthinking every little thing I say, thinking things could be taken out of context. What if, this person interpreted this wrong? And it's just like spirals my brain, on and on and on. And I've talked about this before in another video where I say I care too much about what people think of me, I think it's called. But that's a real concern that I have where I'm overthinking, what people think of me, if I've hurt their feelings, if they think I'm weird. And I think it's honestly, I'm afraid that, it's going to come out in some way and that, I'm either going to lose my job, I'm going to lose my friends, or people are going to all hate me. Another way it affects me is with relationships. I've never been in a relationship before. And I've always been scared to, talk to girls and, approach them. And I think, fear of rejection is definitely part of it. But I feel like another part of it is definitely I'm scared that they're going to say I'm a creep. They're going to, post about me on the internet somehow. If I have like a one night stand or something like that, I'm afraid, they'll say something the next morning that I don't even know if I could say on YouTube. But, I feel like they're going to accuse me of something. And even though I would never do that. I just have this fear that, they would lie about it. They would post about it. So I'm not here to say like, oh, I hate cancel culture because it doesn't let people, hurt other people's feelings. Everyone's gotten so soft nowadays. Like, no, I'm not arguing that. That's not the point of this video. I just feel like for me, ever since cancel culture has really taken off, I feel like kind of everyone is out to get me, which sounds kind of narcissistic and like selfish, where it's like, who am I to think that people are out to get me? I'm a nobody. But I don't know. I just feel like somehow, some way, people are going to like have stuff about me, and especially on the internet nowadays where things are permanent, people have screenshots of everything nowadays. I'm just scared that one day something's going to come out about me and it's going to like ruin my life. And I think that's a big reason why over the past year or so, I've kind of been trying to take a step back from social media. I mean, I've been posting on social media since like 2012, and I've had, all the social medias. I've had Instagram, I've had Twitter, I've had TikTok, I've had, multiple YouTube channels. And throughout all of them, I've shown my face before, I've shown more of my personality and stuff like that. And I think this YouTube channel specifically is kind of a comfort spot for me, mainly because I'm not really sharing too much of my personal information on here. I mean, obviously, I'm talking about some pretty, personal topics. And I think that's a big reason why I haven't shown my face on here and why I also haven't talked to anyone about this YouTube channel, my personal life. Because I think deep down the reason is like, okay, if I show my face, then people could find out all the stuff about me. They could find out where I live. They could find out where I work. People could identify me, and then people that I know might be able to, come out with stuff. And I think that fear is just what's holding me back from a lot of stuff in my life, if I'm just being honest, not even just on the internet. Because I thought taking a step back from social media and not being on it as much and like deleting accounts would kind of help my brain kind of be okay with like, okay, this isn't going to happen because you have no like presence on the internet, or more privacy on the internet, I should say. But I feel like it's also just not on the internet as well. I feel like, this fear is also part of, my reality where, I'm hanging out with people. I want to talk to girls. But as I said, like that fear gets in my head and I'm just kind of like, oh, well, what if they come out and say this? Oh, what if this happens and everyone hates you? And it's just a crazy fear that I have that I don't know how to really get over. I mean, I obviously try to tell myself that, like, listen, the chances of this happening are pretty low. And again, you're not some big YouTuber, influencer, or celebrity that, it would ruin your life completely. And it's also not like I'm doing anything that would get me, canceled in the sense of like anything absolutely wild. I feel like people always talk about how cancel culture has affected our world, mainly in terms of like movies, music, mainly in terms of the media, right? Many people say like, oh, people are too soft nowadays. They can't handle the stuff that we were doing back in the day. But I feel like on an individual level, again, I don't know if anyone else can relate to this. Maybe this is just me. But I feel like people nowadays are much more scared to kind of be themselves because I feel like they're afraid people are not going to like that and it's going to end up on the internet somehow. I mean, I could talk a lot about how I feel like it's super weird, how it's been kind of normalized for you to take videos and pictures of people kind of without their consent and, and post it on the internet for millions of people to see. You always see so many videos on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube of people doing embarrassing things and they don't even know that they're being recorded, and that could end up, really hurting their lives. And I feel like that has affected how people act. I feel like in public, people are much more to themselves, not really as outgoing anymore, because I feel like people are afraid of that judgment, and they're also maybe afraid that someone has a phone out recording them and it's going to end up on the internet. I think in order to work on this, I think I just gotta accept the fact that I am going to make mistakes in life. I'm not perfect. There are definitely things that, even if I try my best in order to not offend someone or hurt someone, I will probably do that sometime in my life. And I have, and I definitely will in the future. But if I realize that it's something that I did was wrong, I will take accountability for it and apologize for it. But if I was just being myself and it wasn't anything that was too crazy, and just because someone doesn't like me and thinks it's weird, I shouldn't be so hyper fixated on that idea. I think the biggest thing also is just like, I'm a nobody. Like, I'm not a big person on Instagram. I'm not a big person on YouTube. I'm not a big person on TikTok. There's not a lot of eyes on me in the sense where it's like, I don't even know if I could be someone that is a big, influencer or celebrity, just because I don't know if I'd be able to handle all those eyes on me. Because if I'm having these thoughts right now as someone who doesn't, I don't even know how I would act if I did have all that. I mean, I hopefully could get to a point where even now I'm kind of okay with it. But I don't know. I feel like that's a big reason why I'm glad I came to this YouTube channel, because I feel like it has still allowed me to, post on the internet, because it's something I do enjoy doing and I have, pretty much for most of my life. But I think in recent years, I've gotten really scared with the idea of showing too much, revealing too much, showing my face. And it's not like something that is like super hidden on the internet. I mean, if someone really wanted to, I'm sure they could find what I look like on the internet, which is like whatever. But I don't know. I just have this kind of irrational fear right now that I hope to get over, and I hope it doesn't, further impact my life, because I definitely have noticed it in recent years where I feel like I'm more aware of what I'm saying, aware of what I'm doing, and I'm just very scared that, people are gonna, ruin my life, which I don't know. That sounds crazy saying it now. And of course, I'm kind of in a good headspace at the moment, but when I do get into that spiral, it really just freaks me out. But I think that's going to do it. Let me know if any of you guys relate to this. If any of you guys have any advice on this, it would be greatly appreciated. But if you did enjoy this video, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.